Two gentle guys would never hurt. No, not a fly.
What's that?
Well, one of these items is not really. If you're thinking it's a Nick's Corner item, I don't think it really works.
Which
for
one?
That. Well, the only Nick's one we have in here.
The meetup?
No, that does. I didn't see that in here.
What you seeing? Is it in the pre-show?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not the. Oh. No, yeah. I don't even. You know what? I didn't. I'm just realizing I haven't gone through and flushed those out. So I was just gonna chat. I was gonna just chat about the idea of using Run Zero.
Yeah. That's fine. That's really the only reason I even.
It's a light pre-show this week. I'll be honest with you. It's a light pre-show. You know, like I don't know. I'm not loving any of that, to tell you the truth. I meant to flush it out some more, but then I got distractimated. It's probably Brent's fault.
Yeah, probably.
It's probably Brent's fault.
You were watching him paddle.
It was exciting. Are you tracking that? You should track that. You know, put that in the big D.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like that idea.
Hello,
I need like a
Mumble.
waterproof tracking device I can mount to the underside of the.
We just get the cheapest possible ones. They don't need to be waterproof. We just constantly swap them.
We got a Mumble Room there. Hello. And
Hola.
we have a little bit.
Hello.
We have a little bit to get into, so we'll start the pre-show here for the members here officially. Just gonna get all the live streams up and going.
Love a
All
good
right,
live
we
stream.
haven't started yet.
No, we're starting right now. We're just starting right now. Oh, who did that? I was doing something nice.
Well, who's got the best connection? Came through real clear.
You're right. Good catch. We're on to you. Oh, there we go. That doesn't seem now.
That's a good latch that we got there. Yeah.
You like that?
Uh-huh.
Brent, give me a quick level. Just I want to check you in here.
Yeah, I like levels.
All right, I got
Do
you.
you like
Shut up.
levels?
I got you. Too much. Jeez, I asked just a quick one. Gosh.
I was going to read a whole essay.
Yeah. Whew.
4 score.
Tell you what. Okay, let's do this thing. We're going to start the pre-show for the members right now. Boop, 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 boop. Are you ready, gentlemen? Are you feeling good?
Let's do it.
Let's do it then. All right. If you're listening on the tubes or on the X, you're welcome to join us in our Matrix room. JupiterBroadcasting.com/Matrix for info on that. And as you heard earlier, we have a Mumble room going too, which details are JupiterBroadcasting.com/Mumble. You're probably catching a theme. Members, welcome in. Episode 639. Oh, it's a little funky for you there, Wes. I got a little funky for you.
Well,
You know?
hopefully you're not feeling funky though.
No,
You ready to go?
I channeled the funk into the music.
Where it belongs.
You know, that's how I channel music. I sort of make a noise.
I've never known you've had this ability before. This is like a whole new thing.
Yeah, it's my X-Men mutant power. It's just not a particularly interesting one and doesn't fight crime.
No, I noticed you don't have rapid healing. I've never seen you be able to hover or
No.
laser eyes. Well, you've tried really hard to get those.
Would love laser eyes or Wolverine claws. Have you ever just wanted to claw something up? You know, it's in your way.
Yeah.
Claw right through
Anytime I'm making like a Kahlua pork and you got to use
That would be so handy.
Yeah.
I bet Wolverine's
I
great
think
at that.
getting in bed would be super annoying because you'd just like ruin your sheets every single night.
You can retract the claws, Brent. Are you Wolverine new here? You can
Well,
retract.
I don't know. Maybe you're slightly defective, Wolverine. You know?
You're always out.
Just super annoying. You're trying to drink your coffee and you're slicing your friend.
That's Edward Scissorhands, Brent. That's Edward Scissorhands.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. We got a Mumble Room here. Hello, Mumble Room. Hello.
Hello.
Time of probes.
Hey, how's it going?
Wow.
Hi.
They woke up early.
They're ready to party. That's why they like the funky music. That's why they like it. So do you know that I discovered you can drop chapter markers in OBS recordings? You have to use what they call the MP4 hybrid file format, which is basically like a batched MP4 that after you're done recording, it sort of stitches together as a regular MP4.
Oh.
But if you do that, you can actually drop markers in an OBS recording.
That is great.
So here's what a guy did, right? So he says to himself, hey, I got a marker button right here on the Stream Deck to drop markers in Reaper. What if I just added a second action to then also drop a marker in OBS? So now when I drop a marker there, it drops a marker.
So you've deployed like a multi-protocol implementation chapter API system.
That's what I'm saying. And if I could
high
work
availability chapters.
Yeah, integrating AI and blockchain eventually. Not now, but eventually. If you fund us, we'll integrate AI. We have a little bit of news. We don't have a ton of news this morning, but the Eagle news is here. And the Eagle is excited because Linux has finally cracked 3% on Steam in the month of October. The platform hit 3.05%, gaining 0.41% from the previous month, largely attributed to the success of the Steam Deck. And Windows dropped below 95% usage for the first time. It's at 94.84%. macOS held 2.11%. A year ago, Linux only had 2%, so it's up a full percent. I don't normally mention these anymore, but 3% is kind of cool. It's a nice round number. Sort of signals perhaps Microsoft has trouble. And it continues, to just really show you how bad the Mac is at gaming. If you would have told somebody 25 years ago that there were more gamers on Linux than macOS, I think they would have, with their cool Mac games, they would have laughed at you. Like, the folks that make Halo, that started as a Mac game.
But I will say, if you want to count iOS,
Marathon, thank you. I was trying to remember that.
And you want to play mobile games, then they've got you there.
Yeah, iOS for sure. Yeah, for sure.
There are cool Mac games? I've been a Mac user for like almost 18-ish years, and I don't remember any cool Mac games.
Hey, Civilization is always run on the Mac.
That's true, Civ.
That is true.
You know what?
Civ is good.
You know what surprises me is the gosh darn amount of the AMD systems. Again, Steam Deck. No, it doesn't surprise me. Intel sitting at 32.89%, and AMD sitting at 67.10%. Now, the funny thing I notice in these numbers is they're attributing the Linux gains, a whole percentage gain over the last year, they're attributing that to the Steam Deck, which is an AMD-based system. However, overall, AMD's share of systems is actually down 1.08%, and Intel is up 1.07%. So even though there's been more Steam Decks with AMD chips coming online, there's still an overall trend, when you look at like the Windows users, of Intel chips pulling ahead for the year, although there's still predominantly more AMD processors by a big margin.
I thought there was also an increase in Intel systems even on the Linux side too. There was a small increase, and it's because in the Linux world there's still slightly a higher tendency towards Intel versus all the other options. But yeah, like overall, Intel is holding, more or less.
We have Arch Linux 64-bit, which would be what's on the Steam Deck, obviously. At the top of the usage charts, then Linux Mint, Ubuntu Core, Ubuntu 24, Linux Mint again, Endeavor, Fedora Linux 42, Manjaro Linux on the list here. Pop! OS up on the list as well, and Fedora Linux 42 also up on the list.
Also, it's kind of around the same time. Boiling Steam reports Windows games compatibility at an all-time high.
Oh!
And there's some early excitement around the ROG Xbox Ally running maybe better with Linux than on Windows. So all around, not a bad time to be a Linux gamer.
Yeah, I don't feel like it is... So I also saw a headline, and I chose not to put it in. And the headline was 90% of Windows games run on Linux. Did you see this?
Yeah, that's from the same Boiling Steam stuff. It's just looking at this.
I saw that. It feels weird as a statistic. Like, there seems to be something missing when I look at that.
Well, yeah, it's like they might start, right? They might run, but they don't necessarily work right, or they don't necessarily have a great rating, and that's the nuance there.
And they're also not necessarily
Well, I think it's going based on the rating. So if the issue's there, then it's don't rate a platinum game platinum.
Yeah, maybe. That could be another way to say it, I guess. Because, as somebody who, like I've played some games that are, like the gold stuff usually works, but they're still not flawless. And there's often little caveats, especially, there's even, if you're on the deck.
And so I think a lot of this is also, as usual, just sloppy reporting, right? So like in the Boiling Steam article, this means that close to 90% of Windows games manage to launch on Linux.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable claim.
I would believe that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And it's
also
still
not
impressive.
Useful.
Yeah.
It's not a useful claim, though.
Well, no, not for the end user, but it is. It is for us.
I mean, if you want to be lazy, then sure. But
Well, no.
No, it's like, what are you measuring?
Yeah. Well, and who are you
Right.
reporting to, right? I wouldn't tell that to someone who wants to play the game, but as someone who's trying to understand the progress and what it knows what it takes to get these across the board, you do kind of have to start with the game actually being able to launch.
That's true.
I think the more useful metric that was shown in here, though I don't think people, like as the Boiling Steam article was repeated across the internet, I don't think people noticed it as much.
Right.
Was that the platinum rating for games, Windows games running on Linux, reached above 50%. That's actually a pretty big deal. Like being above more than half of all games are platinum rated on Steam for Proton means that like the compatibility is now good enough that most of the issues are external ones and not probably related to Wine.
Verified deck games are 7,089. Now, the difference between verified or playable is pretty big. Playable, which means something might not work, but it's playable, 23,244 on the deck. So you can kind of see how you can kind of work these numbers a little bit.
For sure.
Games
It's also important to note that the deck is special in terms of input, and that means that there is not an intersection. It's a union of games that work on Linux and work on the
Although
deck.
typically I find that if the game works great on the deck, it generally works great on Linux too.
But it's just not the other way around, right?
Yes.
Like if it works on Linux on my desktop, for example, that is not a guarantee that it's going to work well on the deck.
Right. I would agree with that. ProtonDB has a really cool visualization too. I love it. ProtonDB is your resource for this. If you have a game, you plug the name into ProtonDB. I'm probably telling people stuff they already know. But it is
There's always that new person who
For
has
sure,
no
for sure.
idea.
I think it's good to remember too that these games don't always work well on PC. Like if you run into an issue that is, say, platinum rated on Linux, and it's like, oh man, this is a weird issue, and you start searching that issue, you're going to, of course, find all of those people having that issue on Windows, right? There's no such thing as flawless. I mean, games are not baked into cartridges as complete anymore, unfortunately.
Well, they weren't flawless then either necessarily, but yeah, I get your point. Like it's not perfect on Windows either.
There's been some
And it's
concern
also-
around DLC too. I guess like a couple of games now have shipped their multiplayer component as a DLC, so then the main game can look, it does work, right? It works really fine if you want to play that, but then there's no separate rating for the DLC necessarily. So
Yeah, or
unless
if you
really
want to
look at it,
if you want to play networking, you have to use the anti-cheat,
Right,
which is
exactly.
also where it falls down on Linux. So the game works unless you want the networking support, and then it has anti-cheat and the game doesn't work.
yeah,
There's also the interplay of drivers, which is, a well-known issue by Windows people, but we don't talk about it enough in the Linux side. So for example, I recently bought a game it's actually quite fun, called Old World. And the
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and the problem with this game is that it supports Vulkan by default. It's built on Unity 3D, and all that stuff is great.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is that with AMD, it will crash if you try to multitask or the game goes out of focus for some reason. And that is specific to that game running on AMD hardware on Linux, as in AMD graphics. But if you look at the sum total of the ratings, people are mostly on NVIDIA or they're using Intel or whatever. They're not going to observe these problems. But again, they exist, right? Like we have to remember that one of the roll of the dice when it comes to PC gaming is that the interplay of hardware, software, game code, and drivers is never guaranteed to work out.
That is very true, and I have also experienced some of that. Like, well, on AMD, it's this way. Yeah, Brian, do you do any gaming these days anymore? I know sometimes you do. You get super sucked in. So do you just you go like whole hog for a while and then you're out? Like you don't do anything in between, do you?
No, it's all or nothing. And that's kind of the danger for me, I got to say. Like, it was fine over Christmas break, and that's kind of when I really got into it. Well, it's your fault, actually, when we last played, was it StarCraft? And then I lost like 100 hours of my life. And thanks. But I got real good. We should play again, and then I'll show you how
Yeah, man.
you're going to lose again.
Okay, so let's get another story in here. So one of the things that people have been chewing on, F-Droid has made a few posts about this. It's this transition Google's making with sideloading, where you have to be a fully KYC'd verified developer in order to sideload, which is not sideloading at all, let's be honest. And they have made allowances with what's called a hobbyist license. And a hobbyist license will have limits on the number of installs. Not quite clear, but it's going to be probably around 10,000 installs. So that, like, for this show wouldn't even work. Like, if we released an app for this show, we couldn't even use the hobbyist. And a lot of open source developers would be in that position. So a gentleman's come along with a theory, and he's sort of posted a rough idea, and he's looking for community input on a way, theoretically, to circumvent this developer verification system. And he says, my vision is to distribute a verified loader APK, which in turn dynamically loads any APK the user wants. The user obtains the loader APK, and once they load an app they can then load an app without installing it as much as they want. And he mentions Davik has native dynamic code execution support, so any APK can be loaded from some zip, APK, or DEX file. You can do it from external storage on the device, etc. And it would mean, quote, that we could natively load the APK info memory and execute any code inside the target APK, and we're not altering the original code signature or the loader. The author highlights that Android's activity management is highly complex and also inconsistent across different versions. And so getting this just right on different versions would be difficult. There's some edge cases with security that would be difficult. There are some APIs perhaps that could solve some of this, but it wouldn't solve it completely. So he's essentially looking for input on this idea of something that does get KYC, that's like a loader APK. Now, obviously, this could be dangerous, but the upside would be you get this loader APK through some sort of verified method, and then you could sideload any open source APK you want.
Until Google blocks it. And then you have to find the next one and the next one. So it's basically, even if it worked, it would be an endless cat and mouse.
The other problem.
So maybe
with
we
it
could
is-
do it, but,
Yeah.
my mom's not.
The other problem with it is that it now means that you're basically doing like the homebrew launcher thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where you have to launch the launcher to then launch the application. And that can actually screw with you in other ways, right? Like certain, like I don't actually know this for certain, but it would not totally surprise me if certain functions of the Android API don't work unless you directly launch from the launcher.
Yeah.
And so or certain services may not be available because you're launching from this other launcher mechanism, like the sandbox doesn't kick in, the intent system doesn't get wired up. It's not a registered handler on the binder interface or whatever. I don't know.
And that's the
But,
problem. You won't know, right? Unless you really,
Right, you
and if
won't
it's
know
not
until
visible.
you start doing this,
Yep.
and this is just going to be weird. And it's just
This is where we're at, though. This is where we're at.
well, like essentially, Google's doing this because Apple's malicious compliance thing has like apparently been considered okay-ish, which is not great. But like, there's also, I think, a petition going on where people are trying to push back on this idea, and at least Google is asking for feedback on the blog post where they announced this. They have a form that you can fill out where you can give feedback about this. So like, I think it's probably worth it to just tell everyone to go, sign the petition, also fill out the feedback form to let them know that that this is really, really not wanted.
Obviously, I acknowledge that, this is an edge case, but so is just open source in general for a lot of open source. Anyways, one of the breakthrough, this really feels different for me when I switched to Graphene OS was actually loading Obtainium, which you could do on regular Android. But Obtainium, it felt like I have access to the applications I need, financial applications, my note-taking applications, without any middleman, without Google. And that's not great for all users, but it's great for me. It was breakthrough. It was like the moment it clicked. I was like, this will always make this platform superior in this way to iOS. This is always going to be an advantage because say I become dependent on some app that one day Google pulls from the Play Store, that's never going to affect me. And I get the update sooner than the Play Store as well. So it's been a fantastic, fantastic difference, delta, between the two platforms. And I really don't know what to make of it if Google takes this away. To me, it's what's made Android so great.
Well, you'll just have to tell me which iPhone to buy.
I know. You should get the Air, I guess, while it lasts because they're getting rid of it. I don't know, man. I'm really hoping Google does a course correction on this. And I know this is such a cliche thing to say, but I really wish one of the Linux mobile phones had really, really taken off. And maybe Graphene OS can patch this out. So Graphene OS users will be able to sideload APKs and whatnot.
Yeah, that will be. I think the question will be, will things further decrease in compatibility, extra feature checks that makes Graphene OS less viable? Let's hope not.
Do you have any speculation as to the hardware partner that they have hinted they are working with a major OEM to make a phone that meets the Graphene OS security requirements? Some people have suggested maybe nothing.
But nothing's what I was thinking.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay. As a joke, I was going to say Huawei.
I don't know. Who do you think it would be, Jeff, if it's not Nothing Phone? If it's, who else would be?
OnePlus would be my other idea.
You think they'd be willing to work with them?
Aren't they all owned by Oppo?
That's the ODM for the devices. Maybe OnePlus. I mean, they started with CyanogenMod when the OnePlus One first came out, and then turned into Oxygen. So I don't know if they'd want to go to a different route, but either OnePlus or what device? Oh, the Fairphone, of course.
Oh, that's what I was trying to think of.
That was my guess.
Yeah? Is that what you're thinking, Brent?
Well, it's a good fit for Fair.
It's probably Fairphone, honestly. Like, they're a premium vendor. They're available. They have a particular philosophy about how they make their phones. And they have openly expressed interest in supporting other platforms on their devices.
What kind of CPU and stuff is in the Fairphone? Remind me, do you know?
Qualcomm.
Okay.
It's a Qualcomm IoT-based platform. So that means that they have long-term maintenance patches from Qualcomm because it's an IoT CPU and not a phone CPU.
€599. That's not too bad.
And you cannot purchase it in North America.
Yeah, that would be the thing that also have to change. That would be the trick. That's the problem with the Fairphone. What would you buy, Brent? Like if you were advising the Graphene OS project of the things you know of, if it's not a Pizel.
Damn.
I know.
Like, I think I would want the Fairphone, but not in its current state, like availability, like you're saying. So it would take a couple of years for that to get solved. But yeah, a vendor that makes great stuff that's widely available, that is a hard thing. So the Pixels actually fit that currently.
I know. And if we lose the Pixel, we also lose, like, for those people who care, like the flip factor.
Wait,
and the fact that it keeps its value, and
did Graphene say major OEM or just OEM?
I feel like they said major, but I can't remember.
Because major makes a big difference. Like, there's not that many majors, right? Like,
yeah, if it's not major,
what if it's
Samsung,
then
what if it's purism?
Yeah, I mean, because like it's basically like what is it? Samsung and it's Motorola and a couple of others. And if it's not major, then that opens up doors for things like Fairphone or whatever. But they said major OEM. That really limits the list because there aren't that many of them.
The problem is they post on X a lot, so it's hard to actually track it down because
maybe it's Apple.
Wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be the ultimate option?
As Apple pivots as a services
totally locked
company,
down version or the totally open version.
As Apple pivots to a services company, we have determined we no longer want to maintain our own operating system.
So Graphene OS says they are working with a major OEM, and the devices in the future will be future versions of existing models that they have now. The devices will be priced similarly to Pixels. The initial devices will have a flagship Snapdragon SoC. And we'll have blah, 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 these other things. And yeah, so...
They did say major hardware.
They did say major OEM, which really, really cuts down the list of potential options.
Well, I guess it's still... you could fudge the definition a bit and maybe include... Like OnePlus?
Maybe. Yeah. Do they sell enough to be considered major?
Well, maybe major means brand recognition. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could
been around a long time.
Interesting, though. And what'd they say about the line of phones? They said something there about the line of phones?
They said that they will be future versions of existing models that they have now, and that they will be priced similarly to Pixels. So
who makes a line of phones now that are priced similar to Pixels?
I mean, that's just Samsung and Motorola.
Oh, Motorola would be cool. I love Motorola phones. It's been years since I've had one, but I've owned a couple over the years, and they were great phones. I would be so down for Motorola.
I mean, they can't, and like also we're thinking about Graphene, talking about risk assessment and security and stuff. They might avoid Chinese ODMs and OEMs simply because of the underlying issues there.
Wes, have you ever owned a Moto?
No, I've had friends though. I like
great.
those that, especially in that earlier Android era, there was some good stuff.
Yeah,
I
and
really
pre-Android
want those-
too.
And pre-Android. Yeah,
I want
sure.
those new Razrs that they've got. They
Right.
look so awesome.
I know that with Graphene
can't-
OS would be killer.
I can't justify buying one of those, but man, did they look gorgeous.
That's for the next phone, you know.
What if it's Huawei?
No way.
I don't
Not a
think so.
chance.
I doubt it. They're so in on their own OS now. So I just don't. But I don't know if you've seen they have a really cool Motorola Ultra Razr flip phone.
It looks gorgeous. It is awesome.
It is. It's got a really nice screen when it's flipped closed, and then it's got a really nice screen when it flips open. It's well designed. They got lots of different options. Way
It's a
more
lot of
options than
screens
Apple.
to break.
It is. It's true.
Just kidding.
No, there's something to that. I mean,
I just put a case on my rancher buddy's Razr yesterday. He broke the outside screen. By
did
dropping
he?
it.
I mean, that is the downside of having the glass thing on both sides, but
That's what the backup screen's for.
Right. It
that's
comes
what
with a
having
spare.
That's what having a screen protector is for.
Or you have your outside phone and your home phone.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you have enough already.
No kidding. It sucks, especially when I'm wearing loose pants. It's just constantly having two phones. It's like having.
That's why you had to get the suspenders.
Yeah, that's what the suspenders were for.
No kidding.
I guess the third option would be Nokia. They're technically an Android
I'd love that.
manufacturer.
I would
That'd be
love
fun.
that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at, so I just looked at the different, U.S. Wireless network operators, their websites to look at what phones they sell. And the major brands that are there are essentially Motorola, Samsung, and a few Nokia phones. And so those are, I guess, that is the list of brands if you're talking major OEMs.
So shout out to Swami in our live Matrix chat, because I think I missed that Lenovo acquired Motorola.
Yeah, they bought them many years ago.
2014. So it's probably why
Yeah.
maybe I knew and I forgot. But,
Motorola's not, even though it's been owned by Lenovo, the same reason that Lenovo is not considered a Chinese brand, even though its parent is Legend Technologies and there's the whole other separate side of it. The Motorola and Lenovo brands are largely non-China.
They call it the world's number 3 smartphone maker in this press release.
Mm-hmm.
Major vendor.
And they do manufacturing outside of China for the Western markets. So it's
I have a soft spot for them. I've owned multiple ones.
I don't think they're considered the same as other Chinese makers like Oppo, OnePlus, and ZTE and Huawei and others.
What would be refreshing though is a vendor who's actually willing to work with the Graphene team.
Oh
instead
God,
of
wouldn't
them
that be
kind of
interesting?
working against the hardware? Mm-hmm.
That would be a
I think that's kind of the point of them doing the
Right.
OEM working thing, because if you're working with a device maker, you're going to follow extra steps to make that work out well.
I hope so. That could make it really viable. And then if you still have side loading and then there's security aspects, that's pretty compelling, Brent.
Yeah, one of the reasons they chose the Pixel, right, was that it had some hardware that'll enable them to be a bit more secure in that way. I forget exactly what it was, but so if they can consult the manufacturer to create hardware that's even more secure from a hardware perspective, and then strap a more secure software on top of it, then I think we're in a good position.
Then they'll have the FBI going after him. All right.
Or they are the FBI.
So this is for you Windows expats that have made it over to Linux and you're missing recall. Well, somebody has you covered now. It is up on GitHub, and it has 693 stars, 17 forks, and the last commitment was 5 days ago, and it was the README file. Do you miss the convenience of Windows spying on you and keeping track of everything? Fear not. This amazing tool will bring back all those great Windows recall features that you've been missing. You ready for the features? Number 1, stores all your sensitive data in a convenient, easy-to-access database. Number 2, 24/7 screen caps of everything you do. Oh, that's very handy. I'm sure Brent would love that. Number 3, image to text conversion with OCR. Oh boy, now that's having that built in. Who doesn't want that? And of course, the last one, index and store everything your friends tell you over chat apps or email. If it's on your screen, we've got you covered. Did a friend once share confidential information with you, but has since forgotten all about the shameful details? No worries. You've got that info. Forget about websites you visited 3 weeks ago, late in the evening while drunk. No problem. We've stored that too. So, unfortunately, Linux lacks the ability for us to automatically silently install and enable this on your computer without your consent, unlike Windows. But we've made the installation process as frictionless as possible. You can close that back door, Wes. Simply open a terminal window and just copy this and paste this right into your command. Here's what he says. I love this. Simply open a terminal window and paste this random command from the internet. And then it has a little asterisk by it. And he says, certified virus free. Virus total score 98 out of 100.
Oh, they have a roadmap too.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, you got to implement encryption. That's been delayed until 2028. But they are working on adding AI features, monetization features, they say in parentheses, for us, not for you. Add a webcam pictures to really capture the moment. And then they just say AI again. Always on audio recording, Windows Foresight, see what's next before you do. Then they're going to add some more AI. And then automatic uploading of all your data to the cloud. Then they're going to train our LLMs with your data. And then one last feature, very important here, add more AI. Clanker, clanker, clanker. There you go.
The scary thing is this roadmap is surprisingly like the feature set being touted from some other major, vendors.
It's a fun little script. They call it recall for Linux.exe. That's the name of it.
That's great.
It's just a bash script with fun variables like how often to spy. That's set to 5.
Oh, good.
Most of the file is actually just what they call important messages. Upgrade to Windows Recall Pro for enhanced surveillance features. So I assume these are just displayed like throughout the app, And then the actual script, well, it has support for both Wayland and X. Isn't that nice?
What is great is everybody's getting in on the fun in the issues. So, like, here's an example. An urgent issue was submitted by a user. Critical regression, zero telemetry or data ingestion to Microsoft detected. Request immediate implementation. So that's on there. One issue, not seeing my ad pop-ups. Another person says, did not ask for serial number. Another issue number 4, missing NSA backdoor, please. This one's a good one. Number 2, needs an easier way to burn the roof of your mouth while eating Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
An important software feature. And there's 3 pages of them. Missing spontaneous update experience. Disturbing lack of commercial licensing. Subscription-based for pirates. Requiring biometrics to use this software. There's just so much in here. Localhost still works is an issue. Remove localhost functionality. Should not be open source. These are great issues.
That's so good.
Oh my God. Add login.gov support. Oh man, I love it so much. That's so good. The issues make it better. You have to go check out, go search recall for Linux.
Try it out, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
In a VM.
And then go read the issues. Man. So, are you in the middle of something over there? Did you?
Right. Yeah.
Did you forget?
Well, no, I just got distracted mostly.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try to give it a shot right now.
Yeah, I think so. Where are you at in it?
It's ready to reboot.
All right, Wes Payne. Go ahead and hit the reboot, and then will you explain to the members what you're doing right now?
Oh well, I'm rebooting into maybe a hypervibe.
That's right. It is now, hopefully, we don't know yet, but it is now hopefully portable enough that Wes can switch his system.
Yeah, with just a few lines. I mean,
yeah,
I'll get the diff if I can successfully reboot into my operating system.
Yeah, if it works. Or does it end up a disaster? I won't tell you how it went for me last night after we got off the call until we're in the show. You have to wait.
I want to know.
You have to wait and find out. But let's just say,
hey, graphics driver loaded. That's a positive step.
That is, especially since it was an AMD system we based it on. That's an Intel system.
Okay, file system mounted. Also a good step. not successfully disable plasma because I'm getting a plasma login here.
That does, or is Hyperland an option in your SSDM?
Oh, maybe. But I thought I disabled SSDM.
Yeah. That's not a good sign.
Okay.
No, what do you have? Plasma?
Yeah. I mean, I love plasma. Don't get me wrong.
But it's not Hyperland.
No, that's what I was going for.
So you're not on Hypervibe. Did anything else change?
No, not clearly. Did I reboot into? I didn't touch the boot thing though. Oh, maybe I just built it and I didn't tell it to boot. That's what happened. I was being cautious.
User error.
Oh, you know.
See, that's what happens when you get distracted. You got a security dog.
Security.
Well,
Okay, I can fix that real quick.
yeah, you fix on that. I mean, at least you're starting from a good clean boot. Let's go with that.
I'm waiting for version 1.0. Do we know when that's going to be out?
This thing's I almost had a heart attack yesterday. I don't know, man. Like my heart's pounding right now. I wasn't sure how that was going to work.
It's like your child.
This is
watching
rough on
them
you.
do like, oh man,
this is rough.
We're almost there.
Yeah, you got to build again. We should be having
Install an update in the bootloader.
This is one of the episodes where
All right.
we should be just having breakfast while we do the show.
Oh, that'd be great.
I know. I
A
could
little
use,
buffet.
I could use some eggs and some pancakes and some bacon. Oh, and I could just
I
maybe
can use an egg, make a breakfast,
yeah, maybe a little orange.
maple syrup flavored corn syrup.
Yeah, a little orange.
Jeff, that sounds like an invitation. We should, get on the road, see who can get there first. Well, you're going to win this time.
If I don't, there's something wrong.
Yeah, right.
You let me know when you're ready.
Well, we're booting.
Oh, you are.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I got
geez,
going
Wes.
fast.
Where's the music?
Well, why would you ever stop the music? That's the mistake.
I suddenly realized YouTube's probably striking my
I see
account.
stuff about Oh My Posh.
Okay.
Activation script doing its stuff. So far, it has not continued doing its stuff. Installed default. Oh, it's continuing. Great. Starting system D. That's also a positive,
Okay.
No progress bar.
though debatable. Oh, hey, great.
All right.
Positive. We got GDM.
Yeah, you got GDM and it says Hypervibe. All right, so log in, West Payne. Let's see if it works.
Oh!
What? Oh, it's Hypervibe! You did it!
Nice.
Oh, it looks so good.
It does look good.
Can you launch the terminal?
Let's check it out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kitty detected.
And what about the command line? Does it look okay?
Yeah, let's go and do a Git repo, huh? Oh, yeah, here. What do you think?
That looks great.
Is that your art, sir?
That is. That's incredible.
The waybar needs a little adjustment.
Yeah, because that's a very, much tighter.
Yeah.
Wow. It worked. Huh. Would you look at that? You're not running Hypervibe.
And it was actually pretty easy. There's a couple of things I think we could do to make the experience easier that this taught me. So there's updates we should do after the show. But
Okay. All right, that's good to know. Yeah, we definitely should do those because I want to make it easier for other people, but also, for future me as well. All right, well, that's very exciting. I think it's about time for us to start the show. There is one very important thing. The launch needs your help.
Well, I'm just going to make a quick call to my launch. I haven't checked in since yesterday. 77446256667. That's it. All right. 77446256667. Call now.
All right. Call the launch. Call the launch, please. On your way to work, on your way to get a sandwich, call the launch. You got a question, you got a comment. Call the launch, won't you? I was just going to check how many voicemails I have, but I don't remember my password. But we had a light amount of voicemails the last couple of weeks. Light. And light boost too. So, show's dying, I think is what it means. So please.
what you want to do is leave a voicemail while you're sending a boost.
Whoa, look at you, next leveler.
Right? Just be efficient.
Just call the launch.
Call the launch. We're standing by. 774456667. number.
Ba-ba-dee-be-doo. Yeah. So call the launch.
What is this?
You should listen to the last few episodes. Give it the last couple episodes a listen and give us a call.
Okay,
I think you're going to like it.
we'll find out.
Brentley, do you need a bathroom break before we get started?
I ate all my snacks. I prepped some show snacks. I ate them all, so I might need a refill.
Well, I'll be dipped.
Why am I not surprised?
Okay, so like a little strategic intermission.
Yeah. All right.
Strategic mission.
All right. Well, begin your process, and then we shall begin the show. Go ahead. Do your thing. You know.
I think he's going to go take a quick paddle.
Right now?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm going to refill my water too.
Okay, so it's not just me.
Actually, that's a good idea. I should do that too.
All right.
Water's all around.
Does anybody want the mic while I step away for a second, or
I can ask Wes a couple quick questions.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And the value
If
of
he's
this,
not-
it's
Let's do it.
Are you running Lublog, or is it just Chris?
I have not yet, no, but
Oh,
I should.
okay.
I should.
I tried it months ago. Well, actually, I think last year, and got it working. Got a bunch of data put in there.
Okay.
And then went to go put it through my Nginx proxy, and everything fell apart.
Oh no.
I couldn't even get in with the local IP address anymore. And then I tried putting it on another machine, and it still fell apart. So I don't know if they did like a weird update while I was screwing with it.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, I just let it be, and I'm just like looking at it again. The compose file is quite different than it was before, and they're
Okay.
using
Yeah,
Postgres
sounds like that.
14, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. I don't know if it really matters.
Yeah, like which part are you just about the version?
Well, yeah, I think Nextcloud, we got that set up using 18, 17, 18,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, it's 14. Isn't that dead? Isn't that been deprecated?
Yeah, probably. I have to check. They have a very good little support matrix for their versions. Version support. And if they're not doing anything too crazy, usually they're fairly compatible going forward.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it'd probably be fine in practice, but we could always try it.
Yeah, I might give this a go. Their main config doesn't have any kind of database in the config itself, and then there's another config that specifies Postgres.
Looks like 14 is going to be supported till, or the final release is November next year. You have a little time.
And when did 14 come out?
2021.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, okay.
18 just dropped, and its final release will be 2030.
Wow.
Postgres is the
Well,
best.
I'll give it a pull and see what happens.
Wes is a
Yeah,
fan.
you can feel free to ping me, and we can play around.
Be interesting to see what happens. Earlier this week, sort of perfectly coincided with the Azure outage. My Home Assistant remote service that I pay through the Nebuchadnezzar Cloud Home Assistant cloud service quit working. So like my mobile devices can't use the Home Assistant remote URL, et cetera, et cetera. And I contacted them, and so far, after I'm 3 emails in now, and all I've gotten is, you need to reboot your router. You need to reboot your Home Assistant. And I just hate that. I'm like, yeah, man, thanks. Okay. So in my first email, I told you I've done all that. And then in my second email, I've told you I've done all that. So the one thing I'll give them is they've been very responsive. In fact, now it's waiting on me. I just, got busy with the weekend. So hopefully I'll get sorted out because it's a great feature. I could do it through Tailscale or whatever, so it's not like I'm sort of broken or anything, but, I pay for it, so I want it to work.
Of course.
And it's very nice with the apps.
And you didn't know how much Azure you were getting before.
I crave ZFS.
Something we should talk about.
Config confession, step right in. Tell us where it broke again.
I think we should do another config confessions. I think it's a lock. So we should put that on the books. I don't know, maybe next week. I don't know. We should look at the calendar, see what's going on. Something to think about though, because I think peeps are down. We got enough. I think we got enough plus ones. And so we should put a note in the housekeeping for people to send them in.
Yeah.
Last chance. Members, if you're listening, send us a link either through a boost or a contact. And also down here. Why is my spacebar not working? Oh my gosh, my spacebar is not working.
You don't need that. The enter key's just as good.
I can't use space and shift at the same time.
Stop spilling Red Bull into it.
Are you trying to use that uppercase space?
Yeah, I like to shout my spaces.
That makes sense.
I like to scream a good space. You know? That's what I like to do.
Nuclear launch detected.
Watch out, West. Nuclear launch. Yet another stormy week here in the Pacific Northwest. But we survived. I don't think it was nearly as bad.
I saw some videos online of people, like a bunch of different transformers blowing up, but none of that luckily impacted me.
Cool. That's pretty cool. You didn't have any power outages?
No, thankfully not.
What do you think of my new camera?
Ooh, it's tiny.
It's the new Anchor, the 2K Anchor. I don't think it's actually new because they have a 4K version out now.
Is it just a little single USB-C?
Yes. It comes with a C to A cable, so C on the back of it. It works great with Linux. So I give it a...
Just shows up as a regular old camera?
Yeah, I think it's the Anchor C200. If you're looking for a nicer resolution camera that works... Yeah. And I don't know if the 4K version does. I've now bought 2 of these. I like it so much. So it's $50 on Amazon, 50 US greenbacks. You can get it today, like if you order it from Amazon. So it's very available, which is not how it was during COVID. So it's the Anchor PowerComp C200 2K webcam. And it plugs right into Linux. It also does have a microphone, though I've never used them. And on my machine, I can only bring in 720p, but on my home machine, I can bring in the full 2K, and it looks great. And it also has a built-in manual privacy shutter, which I appreciate. So it's just got a little switch on the top that you can hit.
Oh, that's handy. Yeah.
And it just physically blocks the lens.
Are you sure that's not like the send it to flock switch?
Switch to infrared mode. So
With Wi-Fi positioning.
I'm using it here at the studio. However, the computer I'm using is old enough, and I suspect the USB bus is just tapped out, so I can only pull in 720p or the camera drops off. So I think at 720p the camera doesn't look very good. Better than the C920 still, but at 1080p and 2K it looks great.
But you can't get to that resolution.
Not here, but I can at home, so there's that. Well, I'm starving, so that must mean it's time to start the show.
Oh, hey.
Just about right.
Yeah. It's funny how this lands right as I get hungry. Right as
I made you a snack, an extra
thanks.
portion here if you want.
Yeah, send that right on over.
Okay.
Send
Sorry,
it right
Wes.
on over. Yeah, you didn't make enough for Wes, though?
I figured you'd share with him, but no guarantee.
I understand. All right, are you ready to record, handsome?
Sure am.
Okay. What about you, Wes? Are you ready to pod?
Standing by.
Okay. Well, then let's do it in 3, 2, 1, record. Hello, Drewski.
Hello.
True.
He's so handsome.
And
Nice.
good at editing.
Yeah, it's nice to just have him there. He's just there right now. Let's do our 4 count, everybody. Jump in at 4, please. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four.
Well done. Good, tight.
Right.
Yeah. It's going to be a good latency today, especially after... Oh, God.
Oh, gosh. What a contrast.
It's amazing we're not a little more hungover from that, really.
I might be.
I don't
I am.
You
understand
seem
what the heck
traumatized
is
mildly.
going on here.
I think I was a little bit. It was slightly traumatizing.
I was starting to question like all our life decisions, really.
Woo!
We almost switched Brent to Windows.
Yeah, man. We almost all switched to Windows 11, got new machines with TPM chips in them. And then, got some really cool RGB accessories that we can control from Windows software.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I've noticed a trend that's starting to happen with mouse and keyboard makers. Not big yet, but they're no longer shipping Windows software to configure them. They are shipping a web app that you run locally that talks to the hardware because they're just having different issues on Windows systems. And so they switch to a web app, even on Windows. So that might bode well for Linux in the future for devices. Don't know. Okay, here we go. In 3 and 2. Hello, friends, and welcome back to your weekly Linux talk show. My name is Chris.
My name is Wes.
And my name is Brent.
Hello, gentlemen. Coming up on the show today, after all the AI hype is finally over, I think there will be one real game changer that stands and sticks around, and it impacts Linux. We're going to tell you what it is, and we're actually going to test it out and see where it's at today. And then we'll round it out with some great picks, some boosts, some shout-outs, and a lot more. So before we get to all of that, we got to do the right thing and say time-appropriate greetings to our virtual lug. Hello, Mumble Room.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Wes. Hello, Brent.
Hello. Thank you for being in there. We'd love to have you join us. You can join us on a Sunday morning or whatever it is in your time. JupiterBroadcasting.com/mumble for that. And then, of course, jblive.fm for the stream. It's a vibe. That's what I always say. You don't think so?
No, I do think so. I'm here for the vibe.
You know so.
Live, there's got a different feel. You never know what we're going to say, and we don't either.
You never know what Neil's going to say,
Hi.
Also, good morning to our friends at defined.net/unplugged. Go meet Manage Nebula from Defined Networking. It's a decentralized VPN that's built on a true open source platform that you completely self-host and own yourself, or you can lean into their managed system, which makes it really easy. You go to defined.net/unplugged. You can try it on 100 devices for free. So unlike traditional VPNs, Nebula is decentralized, and that means there's a certain resiliency you can choose to build into this. And there's also a community of resources to help you make it more resilient. So this is great for a home lab, of course. This is also fantastic for a global enterprise. Best-in-class encryption, fantastic community, and battle-tested. In history being my teacher and all, when it comes to something as foundational as how I network everything, I want to own that stack, and I want to own that stack end to end. Because when I'm building something for myself and my wife and my kids to use, I'm trying to take like 5-year views, 10-year views if I can. And I'm not digging on anybody. It's just a fact. It's when you tap venture capital over and over again, it gets mixed into the tools that you rely on. And sometimes your core infrastructure tools go different directions over time because the priorities start to shift as they tap more and more VC money. And when I thought about it long term, when I think about what I want to be running and what I want to build on years from now for both JB and my personal infrastructure, I want a project that's truly built around the value of ownership. It's a big deal when you think about it long term. And there are a lot of options out there. And some of them have like self-hosting options kind of begrudgingly, there's like different variations of it. Nobody does it like Nebula. And so, you can make the mistake of like I did, I made a rookie mistake of linking a big tech login to my VPN provider. And I don't like that at all. And now in retrospect, years later, I wish I hadn't done that. That type of stuff is what I'm talking about. Nothing does it like Nebula, and nothing has Nebula's level of resilience, speed, and scalability. Go get started with 100 hosts, absolutely free, no credit card required. Go to defined.net/unplugged. Well, we got a wee bit of housekeeping this week because some events are coming up that we'd like you to know about. It's the 13th edition of Siegel. And that's happening next week at 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday, November 7th and 8th at the University of Washington. What do you know about it, Wes?
Well, it's our local Seattle Linux Fest,
Yeah, downtown.
Well, it has been kind of downtown or Capitol Hill area, but now it's over at the University of Washington, which is kind of its own little corner.
Okay, that could be nice.
Yeah. So there should be lots of stuff nearby. I think they've got some meetups and stuff going on after the fest. There's a tea swap thing if you want to get some interesting teas. That sounds like it's a pretty good time.
Is that gossip, or is that the kind you drink?
I think the kind you drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called Teagle. It's a little subcom.
No. That's so Seattle. That's great. All right. Okay, that's good to know. So siegel.org/schedule. We'll have a link in the show notes. Over 50 sessions or something around 50 sessions is going to be.
Yeah, it looks like some good stuff, dev stuff, DevOps stuff, of course, Linux stuff, and then just general, community and open culture.
And then probably should be on people's radar, Linux Fest Northwest, Scale, Planet Nix 26, all putting out their call for papers.
Yeah, and they all close sooner than you'd think. So if you're interested in contributing, talking, speaking at any of those kind of events, or volunteering maybe too, but you might consider taking a peek.
Yeah, we want to let you know now, because what's going to happen to you is the holidays are going to hit you right in the face, and you're not going to think about the call for papers, and then the event's coming around, And if you can get a talk accepted, a lot of employers will pay for that to get you there to do your talk and maybe promote the thing a little bit that you do. It's totally worth it. So Scale, Planet Nix 26, and Linux Fest Northwest all call for papers, and Siegel is next weekend.
And we hope to see you there.
And then, I have a couple of other things to get to before we start the show. We have decided we are going to do another config confessions. So please send your configs in, either boost with a link or go to our contact page and add a link. And we'll start collecting those. We already have some in the bag. If you already sent them in, we still have those. Most of those, at least. Depends if Brent lost them. And we'll get to config confessions very soon. So send those in. And a great way to support the show would be send us a link with a boost and, 2 birds and all that. Also, while you got that boost button hot, I got something I have to just level set with you guys. I'm having a hard time understanding something, and I really want to take the temperature here. When we first started talking about what everybody now calls AI, on Linux Unplugged, it was years ago, and we really referred to it at the time as machine learning because the tools that we were really looking at were machine learning tools. And in the context of Linux, it really wasn't a huge topic, seemingly didn't deserve its own episode. And then 3 years ago, October of 2022, we finally did a dedicated episode on the topic, and it was all about AI generation. Episode 481, The Internet is Going Crazy with AI-Generated Media. What's the open source story, and is Linux being left out? And that's when we dedicated an episode to this thing called Stable Diffusion, where people could generate images. And we talked about the morality of it. 3 years ago, we talked about the power use issues in that episode. And of course, we talked about the Linux story around these tools. And we even stood up a live instance of a web version of Stable Diffusion and unleashed it on the live stream and let them crank out images on our VPS. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was 3 years ago. So back then, it just didn't have the hype around the topic. And it wasn't as charged as it is now. And you didn't see the counter reaction to the hype that you see now. And I cannot really, to be honest with everyone, wrap my noodle around how controversial every little new technology is these days. From programming languages to technology platforms to AI, it's remarkable. And I'll explain my position on AI next week if people are interested, but I wanted to take the colony's temperature on where you are at with AI. Do you hate it? Why? Explain yourself. Are you ambivalent? Explain yourself. Are you excited? I want to know why. So help us wrap our noodle around this, because as people that have been talking about this since like 2021-ish, these were just tools, and then all of a sudden they got really heated. And I'd like to know where you're at on this stuff. Because the premise of this episode this week is, despite how much you hate it, there's at the end of this, what we might call an AI bubble or AI hype session, there's no doubt going to be a few tools that remain standing. That's where we're going to find what worked and didn't work, what was hype, what was silly, what LLMs were horrible at, and what LLMs were great at. And that might be a little while from now. But the people that hate this stuff have got to realize it's not going away. Some of this stuff's going to stick around. And what I've realized recently, and I'll get to why soon, is that Linux in particular is going to be one of the most affected areas. And you start to see hints of it this week when both Red Hat and SUSE made announcements around their enterprise-grade distros. So Red Hat has announced an AI assistant designed for application and migration and modernization tools on the RHEL platform. They said the launch of the Red Hat Developer Lightspeed platform, a portfolio of AI solutions, will equip developer teams with, quote, intelligent context-aware assistance through virtual assistants. The company said this will help speed up non-coding related tasks. Non-coding related tasks, including development of test plans, troubleshooting applications, and creating documentation. And then even more recently, SUSE says, with the release of Enterprise 6, it is the enterprise Linux that, quote, integrates agentic AI.
Sorry, I can't help not laugh a little.
I know, it is. I know. I agree. Go ahead, Brent.
A release of Enterprise 16. You mentioned Enterprise 6, but I think we're moving
Did I say 6?
Further 16.
Yeah,
you did.
16.
You did.
We're not
See,
going backwards in
AI
time.
can solve that for you, Chris.
Well, I'm reading with the LLMs, and I'm kidding. I want to, yeah, I agree with Wes and probably a lot of you listening. Like this stuff that integrates agentic AI. It's all right, okay. Anyways, they say, quote, "This is the industry's first enterprise Linux that integrates agentic AI and reduces operational costs and complexity through AI readiness." So this is the phase we're in. Jargon heavy, hype heavy, gotta slap AI on your product in order to sell it. Do you think it's a coincidence that these two announcements were made so close to each other? No, that's no coincidence at all. That was very intentional. It is very much each position trying to jockey, or each company trying to jockey their position in the AI race. And all of that is exhausting, and all of that is tiring, and all of it seems unsustainable. And that's all true. That is all true. But what we want to talk about today, I think, is the stuff that will remain after all of this passes. So as those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know that I have been rolling my own distro that I call Hypervibe for a while. I'm just at like the 3-month mark now, if you can believe it. On average, I've made 2 or 3 notable changes per week as I've used it. Some weeks more, some weeks less, kind of, averages out. And all of this has been done as an experiment using an LLM. Every little tiny change. And I started as a joke because I thought it was going to be a total disaster. And I somehow walked away with a working system. And then having refined this more as I actually start to use it on my day-to-day to get job work done and start taking it seriously and less as a joke.
Actually depending on it to be your desktop.
I've realized that LLMs are good at text. And everything I'm doing is a configuration file. And between the ability for the LLM to do web searches and to write configuration files and understand simple YAML or config files, this is an area it's actually particularly strong at. And I think we will see a future where if you don't take advantage of these tools, you're not going to have your job replaced by AI, but you will have your job replaced by people that are taking advantage of these tools. Last week, I was having an issue with my network card dropping off the network, and especially bad in the morning for some reason. I don't know what that's about. I'd come in the morning and I'd just have issues for a couple of hours every few minutes. Looks like my NIC would just drop off the network, and one of the ways I'd have to fix it is unplug and plug it back in. And then it would come back to life, and it would start working again. And it was a morning before the launch. I was rushed to get to the show live because we do a little bit earlier. Or no, we do a little bit later, but it's just a more complicated show, so it feels like it comes earlier. And I needed to fix this issue because I had to get my job done. And so while I was going about prepping the show, getting voicemails, doing all that stuff, I opened up another application, and I just had a prompt. I said, I want you to review my logs, look at my network driver and the recent Linux kernel releases, and figure out why my network card is dropping. And then I completely forgot about it. And when I came back, it had figured out what it was. There was a change in the upstream in the Linux kernel, and now I need to make an adjustments to my power settings for my particular Intel NIC. And it did all of that and figured all of that out while I was going about my other work. And I came back and it's like, okay, when you reboot, the fix is in and you're good to go.
Has it been?
Yeah.
That's great.
And it went through, it read the log files, it read the kernel change log, it did all of that work, and then it made that change to my system. And because it's just changing the output in my NICs config, and it's apparently very adept at NICs, it handles it just fine. And you could extrapolate that out to a network engineer who needs to make a modification so every machine uses a new IP for something, right?
I mean, if you try to read through some of the buzzwords in the SUSE stuff, right? They're making an MCP server, which is basically a JSON API to interface with pieces of the OS, including, I guess, some more stuff on top of Cockpit to help you do, LLM-enabled changes and updates or check in on what your system's doing.
And just as an aside, doing all of this, it's given me an appreciation for how much edge case solving distro builders have to deal with, and maintainers. Like it's constantly like things change upstream. Sometimes it's just the name of a package, but you have to go through and constantly make those little tiny changes.
The integration's real work, right?
Not for me. I just have the LLM do it. I just have it check it, and then it goes through, oh yeah, these things have changed upstream. Okay, I'll go through, I'll make sure I change these for you, and then it's ready to go for the next build. It makes maintaining my own distribution possible. And I thought, okay, let's put this to the test. And so that was one of the things we wanted to do this week is we wanted to put it to the test and see how far we could push this and kind of figure out where it breaks and really how realistic is this now. But I think this isn't going to work for every Linux. This isn't going to work for every problem. It's going to work specifically well for like Ansible, for Nix, those types of things. Declarative systems, it already is here. It's here.
Yeah, especially where it's like a lot of the same common repeated patterns that maybe just need to be squeezed into particular context.
It is fair to say that, we're at a stage where it doesn't always produce the cleanest system.
Yeah, that is for sure.
There's sometimes things that are hacky and a mess. I mean, it works, but it might not be how you would do it.
And it often works kind of the best for things like that, where like you care more about and are testing sort of from a black box perspective, where you're just like, okay, I can verify the things that I need do work. I don't care that much about exactly how it's doing it, or or exactly how, if it did it the way I would do it.
And I think the other thing to acknowledge at this point is it can be very expensive if you're doing a lot of this, depending on how you pay for it. After we spent hours, we spent all day on a call yesterday working this out, which we're about to get into. And after we got off the call, I wanted to see how feasible it would be to just do it with a local LLM. And there's a lot of ways to crack that nut. But to really make it simple, that anybody could do, is I went and I downloaded the app image of LM Studio.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Classic, right? Which has Hugging Face integrated. And it supports downloading a bunch of different models, obviously. But one of them it supports downloading is DeepSeek. And also like the Quinn ones, which are like 8 billion parameters. You need a lot of parameters. Mm-hmm. And you can just download them. And then in the system tray icon, you can just enable the server. And then you go over to something like Zed Editor, which is great. And one of the options is just a local connection to LM Studio. Zed just automatically connects to LM Studio, and all of the prompting is done locally with whatever model you've loaded in LM Studio, be it DeepSeek or Qwen or whatever it is. And it's slow on my system,
of course,
but it's actually using the AMD Vulkan acceleration. So if you're not in a rush, it's usable. And so after we got off the call, I had a couple things to fix, which I'll talk about more later. I just went and had dinner while I was doing stuff and came back and checked on it like a half hour later, and it was done. So you can absolutely do this, depending on the system, with local tools, but there is still a quality gap. Like the big stuff, the big models hosted by your ChatGPTs or your Claudes are still superior, they're still faster, and they're very expensive. So these are real limitations. Is right now it works, but it'll build a system maybe the way you wouldn't if you're not really on top of it. And if you don't know to catch something, there was something you brought up yesterday, Wes. I was like, oh, I'm really glad you said that because I wouldn't have caught it and the AI wouldn't have caught it.
Maybe it was the bit about like all the extra work it was doing with our Rofi setup.
Yeah, it was something like that.
It introduced like basically an abstraction to deal with having to use multiple Rofi packages that just no longer was needed whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, it was a solution to a problem that no longer existed, and it hadn't caught that. That's a great example. And so there's still that level of human engagement. But we learned some lessons with this, and it is in my mind sticking around. And I don't know what this is going to be called. This is one of these things I always take a lot of crap for. It's not obvious to everyone 2 to 3 years out, but as we get 2 or 3 years down this road, it's going to be so obvious, and it's going to be called something like prompt ops or DevOps prompts or Linux by prompt. Really, like like you're going to have a Linux machine as a system administrator, and you're going to have something on the command line that you work with. If you go over to github.com and you look at the CLI tag and you look at the most popular projects in the CLI category, every other project practically is some sort of LLM tool on the command line.
I mean, even back at Summit, right? Red Hat came out with Lightspeed and their little C tool for the command line.
Yeah. That kind of stuff is going to be the norm. It's just going to be one of the tools on your, like you have some stuff that can suggest commands. There's going to be LM tools that do that. And there's just going to be a name for it, like DevOps became a thing.
I mean, that's already one of the uses, just especially that, like throwaway scripts, quick little things to clean up files, or like do a particular manipulation that it's maybe not worth me scripting, but like a script would be better than me doing it manually. I love that.
And I actually think there is a future where small, local, micro LLMs or whatever you want to call them are actually going to be better at this particular stuff that we're about to talk about than the ChatGPTs or the Claudes. there will be in the future models that you can run in your text editor that will be possible on a desktop machine that is just super focused on config files or PHP or whatever it is that you do.
To your
And that's
point,
its whole world.
That's kind of some of what Red Hat is offering with some of this new development live speed.
Yeah.
Like they have stuff targeted at enterprise migrations of legacy software or migrating to containers and stuff like that. But it's, you have models you can self-host that they've figured out optimized for these particular types of problems.
And right now, man, if you get LM Studio and you load DeepSeek or whatever the hell you want, and you open up Zed, it's all happening locally on your machine. It's all completely self-hosted with just 2 desktop applications. You don't have to start a single container or anything. And it's got a nice GUI to help you find the new models. You don't even have to know what the hell you're doing. And it's approachable right the F now. And so this is only going to accelerate. You're seeing Red Hat and SUSE lean into it. It is going to be so obnoxious for a while. And I really sympathize for those of you that are so sick and tired of this stuff. But I'm trying to give you your medicine with a little bit of sugar this episode, because what we're about to talk about ain't ever going away. But first, we got to go to onepassword.com/unplugged.
You assume I wasn't already there.
Oh, good job, Wes. Are you ready, Brent? See who goes.
I'm wondering, do we have a new URL this week?
Nope, it's one. It's the number one password, PASS word.com/unplugged.
So you have to use the little the ICO file for Microsoft Word. That's what you put there.
No.
Oh, what else does that mean?
So if you picture the number 1 in your head,
Yeah.
and then the word password in your head, you put that in the URL bar, and then put a .com and a /. And I know we should have made this easier, but we never got that far. And then unplugged, and then you hit enter. You ready?
Oh.
3, 2, 1, go.
I cheated on purpose, but I think I
Loaded.
I beat you. I beat
you both beat
I
me.
beat you. Yeah, I beat you. All right, and I got if you're a small business owner, check out Join Crowd Health. This is a group health program that I've been a member of for 3 years. Love it. My wife is a member too. Join crowdhealth.com and use the promo code Unplugged. Get yourself some coverage. My God, it's not insurance. It's group health. And so they got a really cool app too, where you go in there, you're gonna love it. Check it out. It's been a lifesaver for us. Okay, so Brentley, when we come back after these messages, we'll be right back. So we were doing major refactoring. Wes, maybe okay. So Brent, why don't you introduce Wes to set it up a little bit? So because tell. Okay, you could set up. We got on a call. And we decided
because Brent even made a comment in the call, right, about the state of the internals.
So that's what I want Brent to set up.
Yeah, okay.
And then you can get into and then I'd like you to get into the re-architecture and stuff that we did. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, boys, here we go in 3, in 2.
Well, your 3 hosts yesterday got on a call because, well, I had an inclination at least that Chris's dear hypervibe needed some love on the back end. We had a couple listeners say, I think things could be better. And we had some PRs come in and we figured we should have a look at this. And Wes, what did we find?
Well, first off, as usual with our community, we found just incredible pull requests and issues and just a lot of wonderful engagement, including someone had SOPsified it with SOPSNIX and written just an incredible README about how to use it and work with it. So we'll have to look more in that for sure. But Hypervibe has done well. It's obviously been working well from Chris's experience reports here, but it's really it started as a 1-system thing that got extended to a 2-system thing, right? RVB and Nix Station are the names here.
Yep.
And then at one point earlier, we did try kind of a first round of this where we're like, well, you have a lot of shared functionality between these 2 configs that you probably don't, including a whole bunch of janky activation script stuff that is sort of
a bunch of crappy bash.
Yes,
I'll own that. Yeah,
I guess you vibed into existence to not use home.
I did not want to use Home Manager. I will own that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that each one had their own version of that was pretty much identical, right? So it's took an early stab at trying to refactor some of that into actual modules that you could then use in your host config.
I was doing a backwards approach of taking 2 Linux boxes that were totally separate systems, set up years apart from each other, with very different, display setups. And I wanted to unify them into one experience, try to create one ultimate Linux desktop for myself that I use across all my machines. So I essentially tried to backwards integrate them And I got to a working point for like those two systems.
But it was not in a very good state if you wanted to onboard a new system.
Yeah. Which eventually I do, and I wanted you to try it
right.
too.
It also meant like if anyone else wanted to use it, right? There was a lot of work you had to figure out and like copy your structure, not really do it the Nix native way at all. Or I mean, not the like easiest way anyway. And to boot, right? We talked about the problems of the stuff that, we wanted to refactor, but there's also stuff we needed to make more variable, just in that like you had hard coded in a few things, including your username. The wonderful Chris F.
Yeah, I mean, I thought everybody would just run as Chris F, but turned out they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, and so we needed to expose stuff there, and there were a couple pull requests already to do that. So people had taken a few stabs at basically using the module system and exposing those as configuration options for a hypervibe module that would say like, what user are you using? Because we need to like put that in some of the scripts and plan for that.
Yeah, so it's something you could add to an existing system. It'd be a hypervibe module that you could add to a Nix box that already exists, and then you could define run as this user.
Yeah.
Run as Wes instead of Chris F.
The goal was like you could import this module from Chris and then enable it and set whatever required options like what your local username you're going to use it with is, and just have it work. But to get there, we had the problem that in our first attempt, well, one, we didn't have the optionality on username at all. That was hard-coded. But then in our attempt to simplify things before, it kind of pulled some stuff out into shared modules, but it put it under a shared namespace instead of a hypervibe namespace. So we're going to have to replumb.
Yeah.
That's more of like a find and replace almost, so stuff that it should be pretty decent at.
It's not, at first it wasn't obvious to me what should be machine-specific configurations and what do I want on all my systems.
Right. And that's where either you have to put your judgment or rely on its quote-unquote judgment.
And it's something I hadn't thought a lot about. So and it's an example of if you don't think of it, it won't necessarily. It doesn't mean you can't go back and refactor, which is what we decided to do, is essentially re-architect the way this thing is completely done. In order to make it possible for, say somebody like Wes to run it on their system, we had to extract out machine-specific stuff and try to put the overall hypervibe experience of Hyperland, the chosen application, the theming, the waybar, the performance optimizations, the Zen kernel. We wanted all of that to be in something that would be a shared thing across all systems.
Yeah, and that's where it's you as like the crafter here who's trying to like, you got to figure out enough of what your vision is if you're going to have it be able to be executed by something else.
Yeah, and
part of the problem too was the first attempt had pulled some stuff out, not the way we wanted, but it hadn't necessarily always deduped that, right? It didn't always update all the configs to use that new functionality. So then there was now, instead of deduping, it just duped again. So we had even more cleanup to start with, really.
Yeah, that is true. So,
and that's just kind of the stuff you got to, watch for if you're going to be using some of these tools sometimes.
The goal that we wanted to pull off was to task the machine to re-implement this into a way that could be shared and not break the existing system while doing so.
Because we were basically switching, you were redefining and picking an interface that would be hypervibe, and you needed your two existing machines to still use that and not use their old hard-coded previous version.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a tall ask. I mean, that is not managing a single, like a simple NixOS config for one workstation. That is a little more abstract.
And you're really trying to change the plumbing of how this entire thing is built while it's in use. And the more you realize, I have to solve for this edge case. I have to solve for this edge case because these machines have this resolution and these machines will have this resolution. It just keeps increasing the scope. And as we were doing it, I know, Brent, you were like, I don't think this is going to work. We're getting too far out there.
Oh, I was skeptical. I mean, just the expressions that you had watching some of its progress go by, and you're the quote unquote expert at this particular, let's call it an operating system, right? And you're like, well, I don't know if we should be doing that, but I'll say okay.
Yeah, and you were freaking, like the higher the number of files touched count, you're like, well, why is it touching that? Why that one?
It's true.
And all level-headed Wes was like, no, it's okay. It'll be okay. We'll just fix it later.
I was getting more, because it was getting more and more complicated. And I thought the more complicated this gets, it feels like the more little side edge pieces it won't think of.
Can you talk a little bit about the setup that we had to make all of this work? What did you use to actually make these modifications? I know it seemed like a pretty cool setup from what I was looking at, but give us the nitty gritty.
There is 1,000 ways to do this, so don't take this as the blessed path, but this is what's worked for me is I got the Cursor application and I connected it to GPT-5, and then later I connected it to a local LM after we got off the call, but that's a whole other process, and it was really a pain in the ass, and I wouldn't recommend it with Cursor. But back to my point, I wanted something that would work quickly for us while we were on the call. And so what's great about Cursor is it's essentially a reskinned, modified VS Code. So if you have used VS Code before, you'll be at home in Cursor, and you know how it can open up entire directories. Well, that entire directory becomes the context for Cursor and the LLM. And so it becomes, and that would be all my config files, and they're all in, they're all in a different hierarchy in one directory, and it knows all of them, and it can read across all of them. And when you ask it a question, it considers the entire scope. And so one of the ways I've made this work is I've put all of this for all of my hosts in a build directory in my home folder. And so everything I'm doing is in that build folder. That's what gets checked in and out of GitHub. And so it has the context of all of the machines because it's looking at that one directory. And then, you can just open up a chat session and say, tell me about this. Or it can be something as simple as what keybind am I using for XYZ to, all right, let's refactor this thing. Which I would say it took longer in the sense that I thought we'd be done in a couple of hours. Mm-hmm. I thought we'd be done at noon, and I think we wrapped up around 5:30.
Yeah. Maybe 4:30.
Okay. However, I think if we had done that manually, I think it would have taken us 3 days. Maybe, possibly. What do you think?
I think
would have taken me 3 days, maybe you 1 day.
Yeah, there we go. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably would have taken about a day, maybe regardless, just because there was a certain amount of I had to catch up on what had all, because I took a snapshot look at it a couple months ago, but you've continued vibing right along. So enough stuff had changed. I need to get enough exploratory work to wrap my head around what was happening. And then just some of the stuff are just kind of mechanical changes that you got to do that are actually kind of perfect work for the LM because it is kind of thoughtless, really. And then some of it that maybe would have gone faster is if we had used more human abstract reasoning for some of the more stuff that'd be obvious to us that it was struggling with.
What really struck me, Chris, throughout was, would you even attempt something like this without this tool? Because now that you're in it, you're like, okay, well, I could probably have figured it out, but I'm not so convinced you would have started the project in the first place.
I would have started over from scratch. I would have started over and just sort of rebuilt the whole thing with this new model in mind. And I don't think I would have ever had the time for that, so I don't think that's actually what would have happened. But if I were to take this on without a tool like this, that's how I would have had to go about it. So beforehand, we kind of had this scattered configuration, activation scripts that were defined in different machines and sort of a lot of duplicate efforts, duplicate paths for stuff. We had my username hard-coded. We made it really hard for somebody to come along and just add it to their machine and just define a user. And what we got to at the end of our call was a single declarative source of truth for Hyperland, Waybar, shells, all the system fine-tuning, and then per host overrides for certain config options, users, maybe resolution monitor, accelerate 3D, driver stuff.
And there's definitely a lot of work that could still be done, one, I think just in general, it'd be good to kind of just audit the whole thing and delete as much as you can without breaking it, just as a cleanup item. But then mostly, I think there's some improvements to be made on the interface of what stuff that we have as fallbacks and isn't required, but is more just a good default, because I had to override or comment out some stuff in my code to make that work super easily as we'd like. So we got really close to the interface we want, but it's not quite there.
But that said, after 250 lines move from per host stuff to a single module or a couple of modules, we got a new namespace for Hypervibe. We got it pretty far. So the real test was, after we got it working in a VM, could you get it working on physical hardware? And I'm happy to report, Wes Payne, ladies and gentlemen, running it right now on the laptop, switched during the pre-show. How's it going so far? What do you think?
It's been fast.
Does it feel faster?
I'm not. I gotta do more tests.
Feels faster to me. That's all I know.
It was easy though. I did have to there's some stuff you have for the garbage collection for the Nix daemon that I had slightly different settings. So that's a conflict, right? So some things like that is what I mean.
I suppose because you weren't starting from a fresh.
No, I had to put it on. It's just my existing Nix OS configuration.
Right.
But even then, right? It's mostly was a couple of changes. I don't know, under 5 things I had to come in on my config or adapt or overwrite. You could do a make force kind of thing too. And then in the Flake, you just kind of, I had to add your hypervibe as an input. I had that hypervibe module, and then I set enable equals true, user equals Wes.
So it's 4 or 5 lines you added to your Nix configure or your Flake, and now you have a hypervibe system. That's pretty great, right? I mean, it was a Plasma system for years. You added 3 or 4 lines to your Flake.
Oh yeah, I did also
commented out some stuff.
I did also comment out the Plasma stuff.
Yeah, but if you were on a fresh box,
yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't even have to do that.
Yeah, for our first test, we just got a VM going from like a default no graphical environment NixOS install from the installer. So
yeah,
and that worked pretty well too.
The machine had produced us a successful reproducible version of Hypervibe, which we had not gotten to before. So that was very impressive that it actually did manage to properly refactor it into shared modules, into host overrides, and then deliver us something that we could actually use.
It got to a working state, yeah.
That's on your system right now. That's incredible. To do that, we had to completely rip apart my home system. The system that was working, sort of the original box. That all of this
did you want that to keep working?
And because we were on a call through that system, I couldn't build and reboot and see if it worked.
We could build it. We just couldn't boot.
I couldn't reboot because I would drop off the call. And so I had to wait till we were all done. And so find out if I had a working box or not. And I don't know how to properly convey the amount of rearranging of the guts of this system that we did. I don't know if it's like an entirely new distribution. And
oh yeah, we should definitely. I don't think we updated the README at all, so that's.
Oh, I know.
Add that to the to-do list.
Yeah, I realized that as I was looking at it this morning. I had no idea if anything was going to work anymore. I didn't even expect it to boot. So I got off the call, went ahead, did one last rebuild boot, hit the old reboot button, and it came up. I think I have one error message during like the activation phase, but GDM launched and it came up, and I thought, oh my God, I can't even believe I got this far.
Okay, that's positive.
Like I got GDM. It booted. And everything works fine except for one thing. And it's so funny. GDM launches, and instead of saying my name, it now says Hypervibe. It's still Chris F for the user.
Yeah, okay, that's another thing we need to set.
Yeah.
We're setting that user description, and to make it work, I think we had it probably uncommented just like I did.
But it was
you don't get your username, you get a generic Hypervibe user.
Because all my dot files were the same, and all the software was the same, but the system was completely reconfigured. That was the only thing that was wrong, is that my full name for my username was Hypervibe. And I was sitting there going, wow, I cannot believe we just vibed our way to a completely re-architected system, and that's the only problem I have? That's the only problem I have? You got to be kidding me. And I sat there just like my jaw, like, we could rip this thing apart, and just walked away. I just couldn't believe it. And so it's working just fine. It's working absolutely. I later on used DeepSeek to fix the username. But we should fix it in a way where it's set for everybody. That would be the better way to go.
Did you just override it locally?
Yeah, and you can change the display name. What do you think, Wes? What do you think about sticking with it for a little bit? See what you think trying out the Hypervibe lifestyle for a few days.
Okay.
Yeah? Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
I think if you and I try it out...
I might have to ask you some questions, though, that you can vibe for me.
What do we need? Yeah, I need to update the README, put a cheat sheet on there of all the key binds, because there's a lot of key binds to know about.
Mm-hmm.
You and I battle test it for a little bit. Then, the next stage, Brent, we got to get you to do a bug test on it. We got to get you to run it for a little while.
Well, that's really up to you when you want to pull me in, if you're ready for it or not, right?
Oh, are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm ready. Are you ready?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I haven't been so good with keeping up with the issues and PRs, but I do appreciate people that sent them in. One of the things we were able to do is Cursor you can add links to GitHub as context. So where we actually started is we pulled in a few of the pull requests and a couple of the issues and had it analyze those and compare it to the existing system, because there was a pretty big change since those issues were submitted 3 months ago almost. And we had it look at the differences and see what would be practically possible to apply and how we might apply it to the existing configuration. And so we started with an analysis of those pull requests and issues that people submitted, and we're able to kind of iterate from there. That's really how we even started down this direction. And we just had to give us an overview of what they said, what we would need to change, and that was kind of our launching off point. which is pretty powerful, just that right there.
Yeah, thanks to the community, really.
Yeah, it was longer than I wanted, but we ended up with something that is much more shareable, much more reproducible for me on a new system. So if I one day finally do get a new laptop, this is now completely deployable for me.
In particular here, props to FBit818, Sam H, and Shift, because they've all made excellent looking PRs.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Go check it out if you want to see it. It's at github.com/ChrisLassett. Have a vibe. We'll put a link in the show notes and try to get the README updated pretty soon to explain how to get it working. It's been a lot of fun, and I've learned a whole new appreciation for the people out there that are maintaining distributions for us and how much of it is just little chicken S that they have to deal with on a week-to-week basis that keeps them busy, along with all the other stuff you have to think about at the architecture level. It's been a great experiment to kind of not put myself anywhere near their shoes, but I'm in the same room as their shoes, and I can smell them, and I've got a much better appreciation for the smell of their shoes now. Unraid.net/unplugged, y'all. Go check it out. They got a brand new version out this week, and it's got a fancy new web UI that's responsive. They also now have better NTFS support, and they have launched an open source API that people are already building applications on top of. Unraid 7.20 is out. Go check it out. Support the show. Unraid.net/unplugged.
We have a little piece of mail here from our dear Olympia Mike. Hey, Mike, it's been a while. Mike writes, hey, guys, I'd love to get in on that roast my Nix config action. This isn't my personal config, of course, but it's the main Nix module for the Nixbook project that I've been working on for nearly a year. The Nixbook install script basically just adds this base.nix as an import. And before you jump all over this, no, the project doesn't use flakes yet, mainly because, one, technically flakes are still experimental, and I'm trying to be conservative here. It also just complicates the installer. And number two, flakes seem to also be very host-specific, but I won't know what hostname a user of Nixbook wants. Either way, this has been running well for the most part. Notable parts of this config is the Nixbook config updating itself, sending notifications to users when you don't know the usernames of the users on the system, and the automatic way to switch channels when I bump the channel version.
Okay.
Biggest issue Nixbook users are having currently is printing.
Oh,
I have a Vahi enabled, and it finds the printers, but for some reason, the user still needs to go into Cups, modify the printer, select the driver, and then enter their password. Curious how this can be more automatic, like the way Linux Mint or other distros do it.
That could be something if anybody out
roast.
there knows, let us know, because I don't think I have an answer for that one.
Please roast away, boys. Call me out on my jank and make the Nixbook project even better.
Well, I think this email seals the deal, gentlemen.
Config confession, step right in. Tell us where it broke again.
Yeah, I think we're going to do another episode of Config Confessions. Doesn't have to be a Nix config. It could be whatever you are working on, including a Docker Compose file, maybe an Ansible. I'd love to see a few Docker Composes. And, of course, your Nix config. Send them in either via a boost link or at the contact page. Olympia Mike's is in there. We got a few others in there we'll be talking about. And, of course, I think you better prepare yourself because a lot of the answers is flake it up, Mike. Like number one, the number one problem you listed, you wouldn't even be having. And number two, you need to knock that experimental stuff off. But we'll get to that. He does. I'm just telling it like it is. That is.
You got to listen to the episode.
That is
for the episode.
That's big channel propaganda is what it is. It's big channel propaganda, and I'm not standing for it on this show. I just feel strongly about that. All right, but thank you, and prepare yourself. Boostagram. We got some boosts into the show this week as well. KS Koba comes in as our baller booster with 88,887 sats. I like it. I like it a lot. Thank you very much. And I feel like that number means something, but what it really is a bunch of ducks. He says, I watched a great interview with DHH and Primogen about the perfect storm of Windows 11 dropping the ball, Mac OS getting stale, and Linux getting good, or at least good enough to finally make the 2025-2026 the year of the Linux desktop. Kind of echoes what Chris was saying recently about a new demographic of users. I've been able to shift fully in my life now to Oma Archie on all of my laptops and desktops. Still some learning to do, like how do I install from a tarball? But overall, it feels so fresh and I'd say unobtrusive. And OS just gets out of the way. Well, that's great to hear. And thank you for the boost. I really appreciate that. I love knowing that it's working for more and more people out there. Like I do think there has been a particular audience that Oma Archie has locked in on. And I think that's fantastic. As far as running from a tarball, well, that's a little complicated. Depends on what you downloaded. You might need to extract it and mark it executable and then run it. But generally, you want to try to install something from your package manager if you can and not from a tarball. Because you're not really installing it. You're just running it. So there's that little hot tip for you. But thank you, Kay. Appreciate that baller boost. You're the best around.
Well, Turd Ferguson boosts in with 22,222 sats.
Turd Ferguson!
I already thought we were called the Jupiter Colony. We have colonyevents.com. How quickly we forget. Ouch.
That's a bit of a good point.
That's true. And the Matrix server is the Jupiter Colony. Yeah, I'm going with it. I'm leaning in. We're calling the audience the Colony, and I'm fine with that.
Colonized.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Oppie 1984 boosted in 4,000 sats.
He's a good guy.
He's a real good guy.
No, he's a great guy.
Here's a quote lifted from last episode's boost. Quote, I'm assuming Home Assistant here. And Chris, that was your response to some feedback. Well, Oppie says, insert Picard facepalm here. I only happen to leave out the most important details in my feedback. Yep, I'm switching a Home Assistant. Little update on my mom using Mint, though. Just trying in a live USB, and so far it's positive
That's
about it.
Interesting way to slip it in for old mom there is give her a USB live stick. I like that.
She does, of course, like that it looks and feels just like Windows 7. She's still not ready to take that plunge, though, but I'm on the lookout for one of those Windows 10 laptops people are getting rid of when moving to Windows 11, and then I'll just do a full install so she can try the full experience before making the switch. She needs a new laptop anyways, so 2 netbirds with 1 gemstone.
That's big kidneys right there. I like that. Good thinking. That's a perfect little snipe. You know, those laptops are still going to be plenty good.
Mm-hmm.
Nice thinking. Thank you for the update, Oppie. It's good to hear from you. Not the One comes in with 2,000 sats.
Coming in hot with the boost.
Should be Lup Rats instead of Lab Rats. Oh, and +1 for another config confession. I love the deep dives, even if it's a topic I don't have a use for. Now that is the perfect listener. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Hybrid Sarcasm boosts in with 10,000 sats.
Are you serious?
Make it so.
Thank you, Hybrid.
Love the recent baller boosts. And just a reminder that a free Jupiter Party membership goes to the listener that boosts the most total sats in 2025.
Right.
There's still time to get those boosts in.
Yeah. We're going to have to put something together for the end of the year because we technically ended the Tuxies last year. That doesn't mean we had to do something, but we should, get together, have a beer, and discuss what we're going to do. And maybe eat some food, too. You know what I mean? We should probably eat some food, too. Yeah.
I mean, do listeners have ideas of what we should do? I'd be open to that. I mean, we could party, we could road trip, we can go to space, whatever you want.
What? Okay. All right. Okay.
The suggestions have to come with funding proposals.
Well, Moon and Night boosted in 5,135 sats.
I am programmed in multiple techniques.
Now, this is a live boost from a train running under the San Francisco Bay, 135 feet below sea level. Is that a new record?
Gotta be.
I wonder what the record is for lowest and highest elevation live boost. Anyone?
That's gotta be it. At least below sea level, 135 feet below sea level live during the show.
Impressive.
I bet you somebody could beat them on altitude for sure.
And, we welcome all elevation boosts.
This is a great idea. If anybody is above 1,000 feet, we're at sea level right now. So if you're above us, boost in, let us know your elevation. I wonder if anybody's on a mountain out there. And can I come live with you? Thank you, everybody who boosts. We have the 2,000 sat cutoff just for on-the-air timing and all of that, but we save all of them in our show notes and we read them. We also had a nice batch of you stream. 24 of you just streamed those sats as you listened. You collectively stacked a nice humble 21,058 sats for the show. It's not a strong week for us, but it's a showing up and it's still appreciated. The episode, which gets split between myself, Wes, Brent, Editor Drew, the Podcast Index, and the creator of the app, We all collectively stacked 153,802 sats thanks to you. That's like an investment in the future of the show, and we really appreciate that. And of course, it's also a signal if you liked that episode. Gives us an idea of what content really works for you. There's no better vote than a boost. And you can use Fountain FM to do that, or AlbiHub. There's lots of options there. And thank you to our members, our core contributors, and the Jupiter.party. You put that support on autopilot, and it's our foundation. We appreciate you very much. Thank you, everyone. And we do have some picks before we get out of here, and we've mentioned this on air once before. It was a sly mention, but it's never made it into the pick category, and I need to elevate it up because the team's done great work. It's a very useful application, and it's got a great name. They had a release on September 8th. It's called Duff, D-U-F, and it is a free disk usage utility that is, I think, the best visualization, especially if you've got some media shares or photo shares. If you have a NAS and you need to kind of get your head around what on your NAS is eating up a bunch of space, Duff is the way to go. It's MIT licensed, and they've just been doing great stuff.
And so think less DU, more DF.
Yeah.
In terms of where its role is, because you get just a really nice breakdown of what file systems you have mounted, including like it'll call out special devices like places like /dev and /run and /sys differently. So then you kind of get to see like your actual more physical real disks all in one place. Handy rendering in the terminal, including like little progress style bars to indicate how full
it is.
your disk is. Color coded. It's just really easy to read.
And a nice breakdown. Also, like the type of the file system is so handy to have just right there. I just love that. And you'll love this, Wes. Outputs to JSON. Packaged for just about all the distros you might possibly want, including Arch and Nix, Fedora, and Ubuntu, and others. So Duff, D-U-F, that's the first pick this week. But we've kind of fallen into this habit of having more than one pick because there's so much good stuff these days.
The cup runneth over.
It does. And this one's a little bit different. It's called cheat.sh, and it bills itself as the only cheat sheet you will ever need. And the idea is you install this on your machine, and you forget a command, and you use cheat sheet to pull it up. And one of the things that the project talks about here is they focus on crazy great performance. Like they want it to be back with an answer in 2 milliseconds or something like that. And it covers 56 different programming languages, 1,000 of the most important Unix and Linux commands, a bunch of other stuff is in there. And it's called cheat.sh. It's pretty nice. And I think it's probably one of the handiest tools I've seen in a while. It's mostly written in Python. And did I mention it's MIT licensed? I'm not sure if I did or not.
No, you got the last one, though.
Yeah.
Now, Wes, on our call yesterday, I specifically remember you disabling, man pages on the Hypervibe? I was wondering, would you install this instead?
I haven't. That's a good question. As long as you have a system that's constantly connected, it might work pretty decently.
Yeah, you want to be able to look up. It's very fast at it, but it does require internet connection, so there's that. It can be used on the command line for command completion. It can be used inside code editors. They aim for sub 100 millisecond response times, so you don't have to sit there and wait for it, which I think is pretty great. I think there might be a way to do it. Yeah, there is a way to do it offline as well. You can store it for offline usage.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm, I thought so, yeah. That's pretty great. So it's called cheat.sh. So 2 great apps we'll have linked in the show notes, Duff, and cheat.sh. Yeah, I'll be honest. I've been leaning into these types of things recently just because Fish showed me the way. And if I can get another Fish-like experience that makes it just, that command I do every 6 months, that kind of stuff, love that. Love things that make that simpler. I don't remember all that stuff like I used to. I want to print out a cheat sheet actually and put it to my monitor, just like all that.
For
stuff.
learning NeoVim?
Well done, sir. Well done. Maybe one day, Wes. You never know. Could always be a challenge.
Well, maybe with the LLM helping you. It'll go a little easier.
Nice. I think that's a burn. I think that was a sick burn, actually.
I'll call it a burn.
Yeah.
But topic relevant.
Well, let's see. What should we tell people about? Should we tell them about our fancy features that we have?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only do we have chapter markers, you can go right to the stuff that you like or don't like, or skip around or listen in reverse order. I don't know. We also have transcripts of the whole thing with who said what dumb stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is compatible with the OG podcast apps, the 1.0 apps. Like we'll bake it into the MP3, and if they support the standard for the
AntennaPod does a great job.
Yeah,
with
AntennaPod's great for the transcript. If they support the transcript standard, like Apple Podcast does of all, they support the transcript standard. So it just kind of depends on the player. And then if you have a nicer 2.0 player, you get even more features. You get better chapters. You get perhaps more features with the transcript depending on the client. And then additionally, you get the lit support and potentially the boost support too. So check us out. Yes, we are live. We do a Sunday, Tuesday show. Sundays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, over at jblive.tv.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.
We have that Mumble Room, too. You can join us. There's always more in that Mumble Room. And if you're a member, be sure to get the bootleg version. It's clocking in at over an hour and 42 minutes right now of content just for our members. Now, links to everything we talked about today, those are over at linuxunplugged.com/639. Woo, almost to 640. How about that? Also, our RSS feed, our contact form, all that good stuff. Matrix Room, all linked over there. You can find it. It's a website. It's got links. You're going to love it. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of Your Unplugged program. And we're going to see you right back here next Tuesday, as in Sunday. All right. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate you. I'll stop, Brentley. So last chance to get in that chat room. Bang, suggest everybody get a title in there so that way we can all vote and have a real good one.
It turns out if you try hard enough, you can.
Yep. Just bang, suggest something in there. I submitted, what did I just submitted one.
Linux by prompt.
Linux by prompt. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if people, we'll see.
My most recent LLM enabling me to do stuff I probably shouldn't do anyway is I have a thing that abuses Git as a little, just for storing a tiny little binary database file, like a SQLite file, but it's not SQLite. And run it in CI to do stuff, GitHub Actions in particular. So it had like 20,000 commits, just snapshots of that. And that didn't really need to be there. And it was just
wow, yeah.
So I had it write me a little script to just go through and auto collapse. I gave it the particular, like, only from this email address and with this exact message, flag all of these to be marked as fix up, and then just do a rebase and like collapse all of those to just one for the whole chain.
That's super handy.
Yeah. It took a couple iterations. It wasn't instant or anything, right? Maybe a half hour me kind of tweaking it, but totally worked.
I used it. This is another example of like, I just opened up a new tab in Cursor and I was just like, I want a script to go through and clean up this media folder. Something that's just been bugging me for a while. Like I wanted all the names to be formatted the same for like, say it's like a folder Star Trek.
Yeah, totally.
That kind of thing, like, now you go in there and just give me like a one-liner or give me a bash script, whatever it might be, right? And it's super handy.
It's just kind of fussy.
Quickies.
It's pretty easy for you to kind of verify and check quickly. Just like it looks like you did it right. And
I'm going to get roasted for this episode.
You should probably fix the tilde that you checked into your Git repo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. Isn't that great?
We love it.
To
leave it as just a hilarious mark of what's going on in this.
We had a good laugh about that.
It needs to be fixed because, like, it also could cause it to fail to check out properly on different operating systems. Like that's.
Oh, it's like a little bomb in there.
I love it.
Yeah, it's basically broken. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you should not do that.
No, it's great.
You're welcome to submit a PR if you'd like.
Yeah, come on.
Look, man,
Get involved.
That means I have to screw around with Nix configs.
I mean,
and,
don't you
like-
come on, get your name on one
No,
more
it's just
project.
a folder. Yeah, it's just
come
a folder to do.
on. Yeah. Oh, that's a
my
simple fix.
God. Fine. I hate you all. I was actually going to point out while you were, basically raving about all this stuff that, like,
See, that's what everybody's gonna say, and it's just it is what it is. It works. I know people hate it.
Like, but the thing is, right? Like, one of the things that we fail to acknowledge in our day to day is that being able to manage, administer, or develop Linux systems is now a function of information overload. The only reason Linux distributions are able to be maintained or developed for any sufficient period of time is that you can diffuse the amount of information that needs to be processed by lots of different people. When you don't have that, eventually you burn out. And you look at how in IT spaces where you're doing like 40% of what a Linux distribution does when you're doing mass management of Linux systems at scale.
Right.
And when you get to that point, you're also dealing with having to juggle understanding all the things that are going on, the change sets, the operational management, configuration, and
See, this was the thing that I was starting to freak out about when cloud computing came around. Is an early version of this is you have people
it stretched people thin, right? Like what?
Well, there's just like these hyper focused areas of expertise.
Well, so it's not just that, right? Like cloud computing did something that we never really had before, which was it made it so that companies could reduce the scale of the ratio of human to computers.
Yeah, sure.
So like, I know, Chris, when you were, doing the IT thing, it was probably common for the ratio to be somewhere between 1 to 20 to 1 to 50, right? Like one sysadmin per 50 or 100 systems.
Yeah. 100, would be, if you were at a cheap place, it'd be a little more than 100 if they were cheap.
Yeah, but like if they were doing it right, it would be closer to 50 or maybe even 40 or 30.
If you had the money, yeah.
Yeah, but like cloud computing changed that dynamic, and it became 1 to 1,000 in some places, and that is excessive. That is so much that a normal person can't handle it. That is literally too much. What has started to become, and like this is the real driver behind configuration management systems like Salt and Ansible and all these things, was just like, you can't handle that many systems. It's just not doable. And now what's happened with the containers and Kubernetes and all this other stuff is that you are now talking about 1 to 10,000. Like, that is a realistic ratio, which is absolutely ridiculous, and nobody should be in that situation. But that means that you are, and so that means you now have so much information overload that you are going to need assistance processing and validating and deriving solutions. And I think, like, if we weren't doing the AI/ML craze, I think there would have been another pathway that this would have happened. But like something has to give for something like this to work out.
Abstraction go burr.
Exactly.
That's
right?
not a
like,
bad title.
Like containers were going to probably fail if it weren't for something like AI/ML or some other higher level abstraction model being used, because it creates too much for a person to handle.
I think what you're touching on is sort of the corporate use case here, and or the large scale management use case. I think we're still at a point. This is where this episode's really going to suffer. Is we're at a point where there's a large contingent of people that think this is just going to go away, and
it can't. It won't.
It won't.
Like what we are is at the second. I mean, like, I don't know how familiar you are with Gartner's way that they evaluate like hype cycles. But like they have like a whole document and a chart and a process of this, and like we're basically on the second stage of the hype cycle when it comes to the AI/ML stuff.
Yeah,
and this is where you start having some of the laggards and stragglers starting to come on to the trend, and that's why you see Red Hat and SUSE finally getting on board, because the companies that buy their stuff, them.
Oh, do we lose you, Neil?
We still have titles coming in.
His agent probably decided it was time for an update.
Yeah, there's a lot of money being spent still, especially at the data center and power level. And those things are going to take years to play out.
We're already seeing it like this. So, the MCP agentic whatever that SUSE put into their press release, right, comes down to a very real problem in which that there are companies now that are starting to consider using specialized models and building agents to essentially sub-process a human's operational management of systems at scale. And being able to have a way to plug into those kinds of architectures is useful at a large scale. And ultimately, that's what enterprise Linux systems are for, right? And for Red Hat, one of the things that they have, that they've noticed is that people don't take full advantage of what the relationship with Red Hat through having a subscription has. I think this is very well known. We've talked about it off and on over the years. But one of the bigger things that they've noticed is that people don't really know how to take advantage of the rich information that is available to subscribers of Red Hat Enterprise Linux or OpenShift or any of these other things. And like the back at Red Hat Summit, when we all saw them talk about the Lightspeed command line assistant, right? That was about unlocking the usefulness of the knowledge base, and the Red Hat documentation to help you identify ways to solve your problems more quickly, because people were not able to figure out that many of their problems already exist in their documentation with solutions. Mm-hmm. Now, the next step, of course, is to figure out how to plug that into the Ansible Lightspeed, which they also have,
right,
and start plugging that workflow engine of saying, hey, I have a question. This is the thing I'm trying to do. It's not working. Can you give me a better solution? And then can you pipeline it into my automation for mass management? Right? Like this is the pattern Red Hat's going for. And I think SUSE is taking the other approach of saying, what if we provide a universal interface that you can plug in your own automation? Because AI Ops started being a thing last year. It wasn't really discussed at Red Hat Summit that much because, again, it's a new concept and new concepts don't show up at enterprise conferences that quickly. But there is this concept of AI Ops, and I think previously it was known as ML Ops.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you use specialized models that are optimized or tuned for your environment.
Yeah.
To then do predictive analysis and management
of
Red
Hat's
infrastructure.
I think Red Hat's pretty far out on that. I mean,
they're starting
with
to
Lightspeed,
they're making that a thing with Lightspeed, but they haven't called it out specifically. And I think it's just because they're not confident yet that it actually gets to that direction.
Well, also, and I understand too that this is when I think that gets people tired. All of the attention at the macro level is on these big hyperscalers and their AI play and the billions and trillions of dollars. And so there isn't a big audience right now for hey, what about this tiny 6 to 8 billion parameter model that I run on my local machine or we run on our local LAN? I just don't think the appetite's there, right? Because people are getting Azure credits, they're getting OpenAI credit. Like, I think that's where all the focus is. But when we get to a more practical stage with this, I think one of the things that people will have takeaways is a lot of businesses will have local LLMs that are just experts on their particular product line or something. Like if I ran a shop for RVs and I would absolutely have copious amounts of documentation for all of the thousands of different iterations of models there are, and then I would want to train an LM on that. Absolutely.
I noticed you've thought through this pretty in detail.
I'm just saying, like, it's a perfect solution.
It's a reasonable thing to consider. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Red Hat, like, there's that AI toolkit that they've started building out for, with RHEL AI and then OpenShift AI. And the idea is that you can take the Granite models, which IBM offers through Red Hat, and train them and optimize them for your workloads and environments and your automation, right? The Granite models are designed to be code assistant models, but they can be used for a lot of other things because the line between software development and infrastructure management with infrastructure as code is very, very fine.
It's all just text files, baby.
Well, it's all just text files with structure, right? the key thing is that there's actual structure and order and predictability in that. So you can build patterns and you can comprehend what that means, like holistically, as opposed to like trying to do an inference on a storybook. Like storybooks they do have an overarching structure, but like reading through paragraphs and sentences and whatever.
Hey, I put my storybooks in YAML. I don't know about you.
Oh, screw you.
That's what Gen Alpha prefers.
But all seriousness, right? Like, as opposed to prose, when you look at code or Ansible or Nix configs or whatever, they're highly structured. They're very optimized around pattern recognition.
Totally.
And you can be very efficient about deriving predictive analysis algorithms on those. And so, like things like Granite or whatever are perfectly useful as inputs for creating derivations that using inference technology to train something that would be useful for your environment,
like a title picking machine.
Because we need
does your neural network have a pick there?
I mean, I put a title in there.
Yeah, but is that your favorite?
I haven't looked at the list yet.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we got to pick a title
or train the machine. I don't know.
I don't think we can pick without a song, really.
The mess machine has 2 votes. Oh, is that what you need? Do you need?
Well, I'm feeling like something's off here, and I think that's what it is.
Oh, running on vibes with 3 votes.
If we're ready, I'm ready.
Wow, mine didn't even make it on the list.
I see one from you. There's a couple different sections of the list. We got Victoriously Vibing. From
that one sounds awesome.
Wes, you had a Burr title that didn't quite make it in.
Yeah, he likes the Burr title.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost my name.
The alliteration is obviously what you want.
We are suckers for that. That is true.
I do like Abstraction Go Burr. I think I like the Mess Machine too, just because it's kind of tongue in cheek.
Linux by prompt is not bad.
I probably would not go with Hyperslop.
Hyperslop.
That's not the message I think you want to get away
with. It is not.
It's slightly sloppy. It's slightly sloppy.
It's not useless slop.
Yeah, it's workable slop. It's like tasty slop, leftovers.
I think Victoriously Vibing is catchy enough that someone's going to be like, what the hell do you mean? And go listen.
Maybe.
The mystery factor.
They might also be like, vibing, vibe code, I'm out. We're going to get a backlash from this. We're going to get backlash.
I think that's a given, right? Like this episode, which I was promised was going to be about Fedora 43, turned out to be all about Nix and vibe code.
We did Fedora 43 last week, Neil.
I am aware, but someone came into all the Fedora rooms and said you were going to talk about it this week. So
yeah, that was last week and you were there.
Who was it that said that?
Luna.
Oh, I don't know why they had that. I don't know why they thought that.
I don't know.
We did it last week.
Yeah, no, I figured you weren't going to, but it's like whatever. Let's see what's up. But like, it is an interest. This topic is very interesting, and it's gonna suck for all of you.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's gonna.
The feedback is going to suck. Like, I'm pretty certain of it.
That's part of the gig.
Yep. This is a common thing, and then in 3 or 4 years, when it's a foregone conclusion, nobody will say sorry. Nobody will give us credit. No.
I mean, I remember when you were talking about. Well, I mean, when the cloud computing stuff, right? Like those topics sucked.
Yeah. So what do we like? We got to pick the title for this one. Prompting Against the Machine, the Mess Machine. I like. What else?
I don't like the references to Jupyter OS. They don't make sense.
It's Hypervibe. What do you think, Wes? You got any opinions on the?
Well, I'm biased because I submitted some.
Oh yeah, that's okay. What do you think?
I did
Brent?
like Linux by prompt, although it has the multiple Linux in our title thing problem.
Oh right.
Mind Your Vibes is fun.
Not a fan of Linux in the subtitle.
Yeah, I agree.
Prompted by the Machine is pretty cool.
But it's sort of the opposite. That's the only problem. That's the only thing with that title. Is it's sort of, we're actually doing the opposite. We're prompting the machine, not the machine prompting us. But I do like it from like a.
Well, you could twist it, prompting for the machine.
I like that.
You could do distro by prompt.
No.
Changes it up a little bit.
I'm a little worried.
Doesn't have the same.
I don't know if I want vibing or prompting in it all now I think about it.
Okay.
But because you're right.
It's literally what you talked about.
I know.
This whole episode.
I know, but we're gonna take so much crap that I want people to listen before they draw a conclusion.
What about Mind Your Vibes?
I don't think Vibe should be in there.
So we got to go Mess Machine.
Then I guess Mess Machine wins by default.
Do we have a random title generator? We can use that.
Mess Machine does win. Mess Machine does fit.
I mean, it's bad and like it has nothing to do with the topic, but like, but like,
is it bad? Is it bad?
No.
Because none of
We've
this
done
is
worse.
mess.
Let's put it that way.
Well, it's a little messy.
Actually.
Did you see the tilde? It's a little messy.
Look, man, I'm trying to give you credit for not having a complete bomb.
Yeah, there's that. It is not a complete bomb. I'm amazed at. Actually, I didn't really want to just dwell on it, but I was positive my system wouldn't boot. I was positive because we just completely tore it apart. And then just told it, hey, before we go, double check this stuff. Okay, thanks. And then and I cannot believe it worked. You're not shocked at all, though.
No. I mean, I think
I'm not really surprised.
we started from a place that worked, so it seemed reasonable we could get back there.
Well, I could always roll back.
I'm not surprised that it was going to be fine because the thing is when you're working with declarative configs and you're not really futzing around with scripts.
Yeah.
There's only so many dimensions of fuckery. That
NixOS had our back, really.
That's true.
I mean, it's the same reason why people are reasonably okay about the idea of using the Ansible Lightspeed stuff has been reasonably successful is because there's a constraint. There's a fundamental constraint that keeps you from going off the deep end. But even when you're using it as a coding assistant, because I've experimented with using AIML for code work.
Yeah.
And if you're directly guiding it and it is essentially just filling in the blanks for you, it probably isn't going to screw up because the main thing that's a problem is when you tell it to just generate something without guardrails. That's when things go crazy.
All right, so I think we're doing config confessions next week, members, if you want to send your configs in. And don't forget, call the launch.
Well, I'm just going to make a quick call to the launch. I haven't checked in since yesterday. 774-462-5667. That's it. All right, 774-462-5667. Call now.
Free tacos via the phone for everyone who calls.
I gave Claude all the titles in our feed and the suggestions. So it came up with Vibing by Prompt. That's not great. The Plumbing Resurrection.
Ew. No.
Ready Boot Chaos, which is a twist on, I think, one of Brent's that swaps vibes for chaos, which is kind of fun.
Ready Boot Chaos is sort of fun. I mean, if you're thinking about the capability of it, I suppose, but it's.
I mean,
that doesn't describe. Yeah.
It describes nothing.
Yeah,
free to burn out. I don't know where that's coming from.
That I don't understand that one because my whole topic about this came after the recording was over, so it's not going to be part of the show.
Yeah.
And then it really hammered in on Jupyter OS blast through.
Oh, God, for God's sake.
So I think that's the one we go with.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Machines decide.
No.
It might have. I did say generate random titles, so it might have got a little.
You got a little random. You got a little random. It did.
But if my segment that we were talking about was during the time
that would make sense.
Then I actually
maybe Claude's listening.
I did do a bang mum because I did want to bring this up.
Oh, I didn't have it right. I gotta get the chat back up.
And so because I think it's actually the reason why people really want this to work. A lot of people that I talk to who are developers, who are sysadmins, they really want this to work because they're all burning the hell out.
Yeah.
And I understand because I'm feeling the same way, actually. It's really it is hard to feel motivated when there's so much you have to do.
Well, it was that network card problem. It's my network's dropping off. It's been going on for a few months and I'm I don't have the energy or time to deal with this. This machine, in my mind, this machine just needs to work, and I don't have the capacity to deal with this, even though it was screwing with me for months. So the fact that I eventually was I'll open up a window and I'll just forget about it for 40 minutes. It's huge.
This is kind of how I feel about should I ever get around to fixing my Raspberry Pi 400?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Because I was I really should, but man, it's sinking 2 or 3 days into figuring out what's wrong, identifying a fix, shipping the fix so that it doesn't happen again, because of course I could just fix it for myself and then have the problem again come up when somebody else breaks it in a different way. And it's like, do I really want to? And it's just like, I really don't want to do anything. I think that's the thing. Like,
I want to relax.
Being this close to the edge means that it's really hard for me to be motivated about anything. And I feel like, I think one of the reasons why we see so much more AI ML enthusiasm, especially from developers that are outside of our bubble, is because one of the universal traits is everyone is being stretched really thin. You look at the economy, you look at the way that hiring has been frozen and people are getting laid off. Everyone is doing more work than they should be. It's really attractive if they can just take some of that burden off.
And with that, I'm going to say thank you, Mumble. It was a bit of a bummer, but I do appreciate you making it. Thank you for being here today.
Did we pick a title?
I think so. But I appreciate you.
Alrighty. Bye, y'all.
Good work,
bye,
team.
guys. Bye, Jeff. Bye, Minimac. Bye, Typical.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget we love you.
Thanks up in the quiet listening. Appreciate you. We're going to get out of here so we can turn this thing around, but we appreciate you. Also, thank you, everybody listening live, of course. You can hear the crowds here, so we got to go. It's clearly a real crowd and not a fake sound clip at all. But I want to say before we scoot, thank you to our members very much. You make this possible, and we really do appreciate you immensely for doing so. And so we make this here little, just for you, this little bootleg. I don't know. Anything else we have to say, boys, before we get out of here?
Come back next week and send in your confessions.
Oh, yeah.
Call the launch.
Brent's fixing up the van again. Tools in hand, a steady grin. Heading back to his homeland, rolling through the sand. Had that rig humming sweet and true, till Arizona threw a rock or two. Bent some pipes, heard that clang, but he just laughed. What a bang. On the road.